What up, watch peeps? So GM Lang is a new brand started by a duo based out of Austin, Texas, and they have their eyes set on the tool watch market. One of their guiding principles is creating watches that are ruggedly elegant. Now those of you who know me know that's kind of my jam. One of my jams? Anyway, I think they've achieved it with this first watch of theirs, so let's take a look. I'm Pete, and we are Chillin' with Watches. Wrist check, I'm wearing the Seiko Polar mod that I recently completed. I was thinking, what would an Explorer 2 look like with a ceramic bezel? And this is kind of what I came up with. But we are here to talk about the GM Lang Trailseeker today, which comes in this really cool leather single watch pouch. It thoughtfully has this pad that goes in between to protect their case back from being scratched up by the bracelet, and you will want to protect this beautiful case back. Now, I like to talk about the thing that strikes me the first time I see a watch. And in this case, it was the case finishing. Just look, there's a beautiful radial brushing on the bezel and these polished chamfers everywhere. Just even the insides of the lugs are polished. These are all elements that really add to the elegance of this watch, and it really balances out what would otherwise be a very rugged tool watch. So these guys are 39mm cases without the crown guards, and they come in three colors. There's this dark charcoal gray that I have here, as well as a blue and a green that I'll throw up on screen. These are currently on pre-order for $295 with a full retail price of $365. A deal at either price, honestly. Now the top-down proportions of this watch are near perfect. The dial opening to bezel width specifically, it just gives this watch a really great balance. All the design aspects either contribute towards its ruggedness or its elegance. And like I said, I think they did a really good job of balancing that out. I love the angular crown guards, one of the rugged features. And the dial is this awesome matte dark gray. I love this color combo combined with the old radium and white text. It just works. Again, contributing to the ruggedness of the watch. Now, I've been told the production models will have slightly bigger numerals and a significantly thicker application of lume, which will add some depth to the dial and, of course, brightness. I'll throw up a picture they shared with me of what the production models will look like with the changes. As with many prototypes, this one only has very basic lume application, so it's not quite fair to judge the lume based on the prototype. So I don't know that we'll peep the lume today. The minute track is a very nice touch. To me, it's an elegant vintage touch, again, to an otherwise very tooly dial. And the logo is dope. I love that mountain range logo. It's just very cool, especially for an Explorer watch. Now, they chose to use the broad arrow handset, most famously associated probably with Omega, but also similar to what Laurier use on their watches. In profile, they chose to do something I wish more brands would do, and that is just have a taller case side rather than that unsightly booty dropping case back hanging out the bottom. And I think it worked out really well for them. The case is still quite thin with a mostly flat profile. And you'll notice there's no drilled lug holes on this prototype, but they will be added to the production models. On the other side, the crown guards are really well done. You'll notice they are angled up from the case bottom for comfort. So despite being a 3 o'clock crown, that will help alleviate any crown dig. The case back, oh, the case back. I love this case back. It is one of my all-time favorite case backs. It's done in this really deep relief, but it's all rounded and polished. It's very smooth. There's no sharp edges to it. So cool looking. The bracelet is an oyster bracelet. Points for using female end links, and they are solid end links at that. It tapers from 20 down to 18 at the clasp. The clasp is a simple affair that I like with just a 2-button release, but again, it's got these big polished chamfers on the edges. Very nice looking, and it does have the logo. The logo, it's also a signed crown if I didn't mention that earlier. And the inside of the clasp, it's your scissor, but it's really robust. You'll see this one half of the scissor is filled in. It's a solid piece. Very reassuring. This watch is running a Miyota 9039, so let's throw it on the Timegrapher and see how it's doing. I'm always hesitant to throw a prototype on the Timegrapher because I don't know how realistic it is, seeing that they may regulate the production models and not these and so forth. But if you look here, you'll see this thing is running at about +8, 0 beat error at all. It is a 28/8, so you get that very smooth sweep, and 269 on the amplitude is quite strong. Going over the dimensions, we are looking at a 39mm case that runs 49mm from lug tip to lug tip. And it comes in at, the case is 10.4mm thick without the crystal, 12.1 width. And again, it has 20mm lugs. Going over some of the other specs, it does have a very nice double domed sapphire crystal. Not extremely domed, it's very slight dome and it doesn't protrude very high. Very keeping with a field or tool watch. It uses, they state BGW9 loom on the website, so I'm assuming this is that same vintage BGW9 we saw on the Woolbrook. It's running a Miyota 9039 movement and has 200 meters of water resistance. And on this bracelet size for my 7 1/4 inch wrist, it came in at 134 grams. And here's how it wears again on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. Wears very nice. You'll see it doesn't stand too proud on top of the wrist at all. The lug to lug, easily accommodated by my wrist size. It's just very comfortable. Let's take a look at it side by side some other watches. So here's how it matches up against another 39mm, the Alpinist. And honestly, looking at them there, I think they probably wear very similar. Also very similar proportions like dial to bezel size. The Alpinist looks a little bit more of a chunky monkey in person than the Lang does. Here it is next to my Newmark, which is a 40mm, but all dial. So that dial might make it look a little larger, but it has a less chunky case. Very similar on the thickness. Next to an Orient Ray, which is a 41. Now you'll see is where the watches start to look a little larger than the Trailseeker. And lastly, well, my other SKX is, I have it apart right now, so we'll use this one. But the 42+ millimeter SKX, you can see that's just a larger, chunkier watch in both dimensions. So there it is, guys, the GM Lang Trailseeker. Really looking forward to this release. Really enjoyed my time with it. It's just a very comfortable watch that you could put on and just forget about your other watches. I've got my eyes set on either this gray model or the blue. That soft blue is just really appealing. All right, let me know what you guys think. Share your thoughts in the comments. Before I let you go, sneaker check, Jordan 4 Fire Reds. What? All right, guys, that's it. I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.